Cardi B didn't just respond to Offset.
I don't care. You're lame. And them is lame too.
She scorched the earth. After Offset sat comfortably on the Joe Budden podcast and casually claimed that none of the women he left went up, the internet braced for impact. But what followed wasn't just shade. It wasn't just messy celebrity drama. It was a cultural detonation.
Never met none that I left went up, so I don't know how to explain.
Because when you understand the history between Cardi B and Offset, the cheating scandals, the public apologies, the humiliation, the forgiveness, the divorce filings, the reconciliations, you realize this wasn't a random clapback. This was 9 years of suppressed emotion finally exploding. Let's rewind. January 2026. Offset appears on the podcast relaxed, confident, almost smug. And then he says it. None that I left went up. Simple sentence, nuclear consequences. Because the woman he was clearly referencing isn't some unknown ex. It's Cardi B, a multi-platinum Grammy-winning global superstar who literally just performed at the Super Bowl. The audacity wasn't just disrespectful, it was historically inaccurate.
Even though I know you was going to go to Atlanta, and I was like, I didn't want to know what you was doing out there. I told you, blocked.
This is the same Offset whose infidelity surfaced just 3 months after their secret September 2017 wedding. December 2017, cheating videos hit the internet. The marriage certificate ink wasn't even dry. This is the same man who interrupted Cardi's Rolling Loud set in 2018 with a giant "Take Me Back" sign made of roses, publicly begging forgiveness while half the internet cringed. This is the same man who admitted infidelity, blamed the lifestyle, and repeatedly forced Cardi to defend her marriage in front of millions. And now, years later, he's sitting on a podcast acting like the prize.
I don't care. You're lame. And them is lame too.
When that clip hit social media, Cardi didn't subtweet, she detonated. Instagram Live became her battlefield, raw, unfiltered, emotional. Years of humiliation, pregnancy stress, postpartum vulnerability, public embarrassment, all of it poured out. And here's what you need to understand about Cardi. When she's hurt, she doesn't whisper, she doesn't send subliminals, she screams her truth. She admitted she blocked him not because she didn't care, but because she cared too much, because every time he touched down in Atlanta, she already knew what was waiting. She didn't want the screenshots, she didn't want the confirmation, she just wanted peace. But peace never came. Through pregnancy, through divorce filings in 2020, through more accusations in 2023, through deleted Instagram stories and public back and forths, she kept trying to survive the marriage without losing her mind. And then came the line that froze the culture.
None of them, not none of them. But you. I regret you. I'm too good for you. I've always been too good for you.
I regret you. 3 words, not anger, not shade, grief. I'm too good for you. I always been too good for you. That wasn't ego. That was realization. Because the numbers don't lie. The accolades don't lie. The trajectory doesn't lie. While Offset's narrative stalled, Cardi's career expanded globally. From Grammy wins to Super Bowl stages, the woman he implied didn't go up went stratospheric. But the story doesn't stop there. Because just when it seemed like Cardi had finally moved on, when she began dating NFL star Stefon Diggs, when the blogs called it an upgrade, when she looked peaceful for the first time in years, the universe delivered a twist so ironic it felt scripted. Super Bowl weekend. Cardi performs, Diggs' team gets blown out, and sitting in the family section, wearing credentials, invited personally, was a woman allegedly linked to Offset's past. Not just any woman. One of the women connected to the destruction of Cardi's marriage. If Diggs knew who she was, that's not just betrayal, that's psychological warfare. Within hours, unfollows happened, breakup rumors ignited, receipts leaked, the internet exploded. And suddenly, what started as a podcast comment had evolved into something much bigger. This wasn't just celebrity gossip anymore. It was about pride, about humiliation, about karma, about how history has a way of circling back when you least expect it. And the real question now isn't whether Offset was wrong. It's whether anyone in this story ever truly escaped the consequences of what they started. And then, of course, there was 50 Cent. Because if there's one thing 50 Cent has never done in his entire career, it's miss an opportunity to insert himself into chaos. As the Super Bowl fallout spiraled out of control, 50 hopped online with that signature dry humor and posted, "Get away from me." No long explanation, no deep breakdown, just classic 50, laughing while the house burns. And somehow, when the person on the receiving end is already bleeding, his jokes hit even harder.
Just really like to play games with me when I'm at my most vulnerable time, when I'm not the most confident.
X was on fire. Cardi left Offset for cheating. Now Diggs is messing with Offset's side chick. This is madness. Reddit exploded overnight. Thousands of comments, think pieces, conspiracy threads. People debated whether this was karma coming full circle, whether it was a deliberate setup, whether someone behind the scenes was orchestrating the symmetry because the narrative felt too perfect. Think about it. Cardi leaves a cheater, finds a new man, gets betrayed by the new man with the old cheater's woman. If a Hollywood screenwriter pitched this, the studio would send it back stamped, "Too unrealistic. Audiences won't believe it." And yet here we are, watching it unfold on Instagram. But here's the eerie part. Through the entire Super Bowl meltdown, through every blog headline and every viral tweet, Offset was silent. Suspiciously silent. No Instagram stories, no tweets, no interviews. Nothing. And silence from Offset doesn't mean absence. Behind the scenes, whispers began circulating. Insiders hinted at strategic leaks, carefully timed information drops feeding gossip blogs at the worst possible moment. Whether fully confirmed or not, the timing of everything felt surgical. Suddenly, that January podcast line, "None that I left went up," didn't feel casual anymore. It felt calculated. Like he threw that grenade knowing the Super Bowl was coming, knowing the pre-situation was brewing, knowing that if Cardi's so-called upgrade collapsed publicly, those words would echo louder than ever. But here's what Offset and every man who has underestimated Cardi B consistently fails to understand. Cardi does not fold. She does not retreat quietly. She does not disappear and let the world laugh. She goes live. Back to Instagram, back to her digital battlefield, raw, unfiltered, dangerous. And this time, her tone shifted. This wasn't rage. This was pattern recognition. She spoke about vulnerability, about men waiting for her lowest moments, pregnancy, postpartum, emotional exhaustion to strike.
He likes to play games with me because he knows I'm not an easy girl.
Offset did it when she was carrying his child. Now the same playbook appeared again, with a different man, in a different jersey. They wait for the cracks in the armor. They wait for the moment you're doubting yourself. Then they strike. He knows I'm not an easy girl. That line carried weight. It meant he knows I fight back. He knows I'm not silent. He knows my platform is bigger than his ego. So he waits for weakness.
Because of your album, and you really been doing me dirty after so many.
And that cold, strategic timing is what transformed this from celebrity drama into something darker. Because the story didn't stop at emotional games, it escalated. Enter Selena Powell, a controversial figure who has built a reputation exposing hip-hop secrets, sometimes with receipts, sometimes with questionable credibility. She leaked a FaceTime video. In it, Offset allegedly made direct threats against NFL star Stefon Diggs, threatening violence. Not subliminal lyrics, not metaphor, direct words. X reacted instantly. That's jail time. This is turning criminal. He's obsessed. No lawsuits had been filed publicly at the time, but the conversation shifted. This wasn't about cheating anymore. This was about escalation. Then came the paternity chaos. In November 2025, Offset briefly posted, then deleted, a claim suggesting Cardi's newborn son was his. Let that sink in. Attempting to claim another man's child publicly.
Me because he's trying to show me the girls that he been, I guess, or
Cardi responded swiftly, calling it harassment, and the intent behind it seemed transparent: destabilize her new family, inject doubt, stay at the center of the narrative. Because if he can't control the relationship, he can control the chaos. And then another legal twist surfaced. Because Cardi and Offset were still technically married during parts of this mess, rumors swirled about birth certificate complications and unfinished divorce proceedings, layer upon layer. Through all of it, Cardi's response remained consistent. He manipulated. He FaceTimed her with other women in the frame. He tried to provoke jealousy, even after it was over. That's not flexing. That's control. That's emotional tethering. And fans began asking a new question, not who cheated or whose side are you on, but
is Cardi safe? By February 2026, post-Super Bowl chaos, post-meltdown, Cardi made a statement without saying a word. She bought herself a $500,000 Audemars Piguet watch. Self-care. $500,000 on her own wrist. Exes called it queen moves. Trolls mocked it, but the message was clear. If the men in my life won't treat me like royalty, I will. She later admitted on a podcast, I regret a lot. I was hurt every day. But she also said she was done, permanently. Done letting hurt define her. Done revolving her identity around chaos. Focused on her children, her music, her money. And here's the bigger picture. What we're watching isn't just gossip, it's about ego, control, public humiliation as strategy, and what happens when two powerful public figures refuse to lose. Because this war, it doesn't feel finished, and the internet knows it. This isn't just celebrity gossip anymore, it's a cultural mirror. What we're watching unfold between Cardi B and Offset reflects something much deeper than shade, cheating rumors, or viral moments. It reflects toxic masculinity. It reflects ego that refuses to accept loss. It reflects cycles of forgiveness that slowly mutate into cycles of emotional damage. In a world where every text can leak, every mistake can trend, and every vulnerable moment becomes public content, trying to build a healthy romance under a global microscope is almost impossible. Offset's trajectory, from cheating husband to public beggar with roses on a festival stage, to threatening ex, to podcast troll mocking the mother of his children, represents the worst-case scenario of what happens when a man's pride refuses to accept an L and move on with dignity. And Cardi's arc, from loyal wife defending her marriage, to filing for divorce, to trying again, to finally walking away, to rebuilding, to facing yet another betrayal, that arc is messy, complicated, human, because love is messy. Especially when millions of strangers are watching and half of them are waiting for you to fail. The Super Bowl twist, that wasn't just ironic, that was symbolic, a reminder that this story isn't linear, it doesn't have a clean break, a neat ending, or a fairy tale redemption. It's circular, and it keeps spinning. As of now, Cardi appears focused on herself, her children, her career, her peace, but the divorce remains unfinished, custody conversations still loom, emotions are unresolved, and when ego, pride, and public humiliation mix together, they rarely dissolve quietly. This isn't just about who cheated, it's about control. It's about power. It's about what happens when two people with massive platforms weaponize pain in front of the entire world. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Social media doesn't just document dysfunction, it amplifies it, it rewards it, it monetizes it, it turns heartbreak into engagement. So while fans debate Team Cardi or Team Offset, what we're really witnessing is how modern relationships collapse in public, and how difficult it is to truly escape someone when your history is archived forever online. The real question isn't who won. The real question is, can either of them truly move on? Because if history has taught us anything about Cardi B and Offset, it's this: the next explosion is never more than one Instagram Live away. And in the age of viral emotion, silence rarely lasts long. If you enjoyed this breakdown, tap one of the videos on your screen right now, because this story isn't over, not even close.